Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me. Down the inside, absolutely impossible season.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We're robust. We got our elbows out.
Ronard takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
And hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to PSGL F3, and I'm here alongside legend himself, Mr. Max Ring, as we head to Spa-Francorchamps today. But I've heard, Max, we've got some news as well from the server.
Yes, we certainly do. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be back once again. Of course, last week there was no F3 stream, so pleasure to be back in the box once again. But there was some news earlier today. PSGL PCF1 will be back in action from the 23rd of July. So next Wednesday, we shall be back in action. Alex, take us through the calendar of what we should see for the rest of the season for PCF1.
Let's look onto the calendar then. So we're going to kick-start it off in F1, and they're going to go straight to Brazil, then to Kota, then to Silverstone. What a first 3 rounds, by the way, incredible. Then the Netherlands, Brack, and I like it on this game as well. There's a break on the 20th of August, and then after that we go to Austria, China, Belgium, Jeddah, Qatar, another break, Bahrain, Australia, Mexico, Vegas, then finishing it all off in Abu Dhabi. It looks a really, really strong calendar. And I think my favourite 3 on there, obviously, it's got to be Austria, Silverstone. And racing on this game, I'd definitely say Bahrain or Belgium.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong calendar indeed. Of course, you're starting off at Brazil, where most seasons are usually ended off. So we've got 2 kind of finales, one at the opening race of the season and one at the very end with Abu Dhabi. But it's a very unique calendar, very all-roundish sort of calendar. You've got a good mix of your street circuits, your narrow circuits, then your ones with lots of action, and of course your just bog standard all-round classic tracks like Silverstone and also Bahrain. It's always on the calendar. You'll find it everywhere in Belgium as well. Taking you through your driver lineups then for the PCF1 season. So for Alpine, we have Otis Lawrence and Danny Beresne. For Aston Martin, we have Duncan Hoffland and Nicholas Longe after his departure from Scuderia Ferrari, who next up have Barry Boromand and Ismail Fassi. Then it is Reese Linton and Joris Rosen, Thomas Ronhart and Julian Kleffenbach for Kick Sauber. Then for Williams, we have Ruben Pedreno and Alvaro Caraton. Then for VCAR, we have Tom Manley and Ulis Uzarailum. Then for Red Bull, we have Jarno Opmeer and Freddie Rasmussen. Mercedes is Itzvan Pookie and Lucas Blakely. And then finally at McLaren, we have Alfie Butcher and newcomer Jake Benham to the team. So a very, very strong lineup indeed. And we can kind of use this here, Alex, PCF1, as maybe a little insight to potentially what we could see into the actual F1 esports season.
Absolutely. It looks an absolutely unbelievable lineup. It's going to be exciting when we do get underway for PCF1. But here we're going to have to focus on the Belgian race. It's round number 3, and the standings then, Max, you've seen, I mean, you saw round 1, obviously it was off in round 2, but as we head into round number 3, let's talk through the driver standings then, as I've got to get used to the names as well, as a newbie to F3. But at the top of the standings, it is Lucas Patainen. Patainen. Close.
It was close. It was close.
It's a good effort, and I don't want to try the next one either. But Gregory, finish off, Max.
Gregory Przeeble, or as most people call him, Gregory Password. But yes, Gregory Przeeble in second place, only 2 points off a non-point score in Saudi Arabia. That could be detrimental to his championship challenge. As I say, only 2 points off, but that non-point score could be crucial come round 12 in Mexico. Then we have Isaac Lee in third, who level on points with championship lead. Second place in the standings, Gregory. Then it's Ryan Modler in 4th. Then we have Daniel Kuja in 5th, and then Camille Statura in 6th. Statura has actually got 2 5th-place finishes in a row, so he has been the most consistent driver so far this season. Then we have Enzo Sum with 11 points. He's 7 points off the championship lead. Then further back with Campbell Adams, who of course first race in Saudi Arabia up here in F3, and it was a podium finish, so a good start for the Australian. Then it's Tom Roberts, who DNF last time out. He's still on 9 points. Wojciech Steg with 8 points, and then it's Tonelato, Tomasetto Alea, Stephen Vasso, Felipe Salsa, and Valentino Labella, who round out your points finishers. It should be quite an interesting race here this evening. Of course, we've had Austria, we've had Saudi Arabia. They're 2 completely different circuits. Belgium, another one. It's a really long track. There's, of course, very long straights heading up through Arouge and Radion through that first sector. It's a completely different challenge to both Saudi Arabia and Austria. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm expecting times to be about that 1 minute 41-ish range, maybe 1 minute 40s at a push. So it should be a very good evening indeed. But at the moment, consistency is not really this tier's strong point in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, we'll take you through the track map before we go on to the action. Spa-Francorchamps. I mean, it is the roller coaster of Formula One, the longest circuit on the calendar, 7 kilometers. Past just right in the midst of the Ardennes Forest. Opened in 1921, first race in 1950. Fourth Formula One, 19 corners, 9 to the right and 10 to the left, and 102 meters of elevation change. 80% full throttle, most of all. And now, as we head into the midst of qualifying, a few drivers just starting to begin their laps as we get underway. So, Max, shall we just get straight into the action?
Yes, let's get straight into the action indeed. Of course, everybody going to be out oh so early due to the nature of this circuit to try and get all 4 runs, or 3 runs, should I say, that they possibly can out of this circuit. Of course, no lobby restarts anymore means we're not going to see 4 runs on qualifying. It's going to be only 3, so they'll be saving one of those sets of softs potentially for the race, or even might someone have a rogue strategy and just use all of them and pray there's no late race safety car that could potentially hinder them in the meanwhile. So the first driver who will be setting a lap time seems to be the Kicksauber of Camille Statura. Let's see what he is going to be able to do. Of course, this circuit, it's such a challenging qualifying to get right. You see, very easy to invalidate around a circuit like Spa in the middle of the Ardennes Forest. Rain is never off the cards, and it is looking very overcast right now, Alex. So why don't you take us away on Camille's first flying lap?
Yeah, let's go with Camille in the Kicksauber as we go on the route down to the source at turn number 1. Let's see what he can do as we go heavy on the brakes just before the 50-meter board, get the car rotated and slowly on the power on the exit, and flat from here all the way down to Eau Rouge. Then crucially in the racer detection point around here, and you'll need to be in that if you want to stay within that top pack as well. But Camille flying through Eau Rouge to the top of Radion, and now down the Kemmel Straight with that rear wing wide open, and on the long route down to Lacombe, the main overtaking zone I'd say on this circuit, but still plenty of places around this 7-kilometer circuit to do so. But nicely does it through the Lacombe section and on the exit, and on the route down to Bruxelles at turn number 8. Wants to get the car hooked up, just needs to get this solid banker lap in. It is such a long circuit as well. But now into no name corner at turn number 9, and on the power on the exit on the curb nicely as we head down P1 once again, down turn 10 and turn 11 fully flat out for Camille, and now into turn number 12, and on the brakes taking the curb on the outside, getting as close as you can on the inside and running it through Campus corner on as much power as you can possibly dare. And now as we head into Stavolo at turn number 14, nicely on the power, pushing the track limits as much as you possibly can, and obviously Purple in the first 2 sectors, only man out there to set the first 2 sectors, as we'll have the flow of drivers coming in right behind. But Camille heading through Blanchimont and around turn number 17, and to round out we'll go into the chicane for the first lap here in F3 here at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, one of the most iconic ones on the calendar and of all. But on the power on the exit, pretty planted, looks decent banker lap and into the 40.3s.
Very nice lap indeed there from Camille Statura. Then Ryan Modler to the line, 2 attempts off from his teammate Up to the line now is Enzo Sumi. He's got a 10th shy of Camille, so it seems a very good lap time so far from the man who opened up this session. That was Stephen Vasso going 4th fastest. Then Tonelato to 3rd place. Times are certainly going to be coming in thick and fast. Campbell Adams now to the top of the times with a 1 minute 40.3. A lovely banker lap from him. What's our championship leader, Lucas Batainen, doing in his run? He's now heading into the bus stop chicane. Isaac Lee currently on the 40.6, slowest of all so far. Here comes Batainen to the line. Where can our championship leader go? Only 11th fastest, a 40.817. Up to the line there was Wojtek Steg, moving himself up into 6th place. 3 more drivers up to the line. Valentino Labella with an invalidation. Sprogis moves himself up into 6th place as well. All eyes now on FVR Cloud. Let's see what the V-Carb can do through the right-hander of the bus stop chicane. A very tricky chicane to get right. The car wants to step out on you at every moment it can. Up to the line he goes. Only 15th fastest, so very disappointing opening to the session here, Alex, for both the V-Carbs and also for championship leader Lucas Batainen as well.
Yeah, down in P13 on a 140.8, but to be honest, I thought the times were going to be a bit slower around Spa. It's the first race I've commentated around Spa on this game as well, but Campbell Adams at the top of the times with 140.3 and a mega way to set that first banker lap in qualifying, and currently in the Alpine 400th above Camille, who seemed like it was such a planted lap. He was pushing quite early doors and he looked very comfortable in that kick Sauber to put it provisionally on pole. Got it taken away from the FRT driver of Campbell Adams. But yeah, still, first run's done. What can happen in the next one? I mean, anybody's game. Who's made mistakes and who's got a lot to gain in their next runs? Max, what are your predictions going to the next runs? Who do you think will fly the way through the order?
I think we're going to see, of course, Lucas, potentially Isaac Lee as well. He's a very good qualifier, so look out for Isaac Lee potentially, and he could make his way up through the order. But it's very close as it currently stands throughout this field, to be fair as well. It's 3/10 separating the top 12, so really close indeed. And with this next set of runs, that track's going to be improved that little bit more. You're going to have that little bit more grip, and the sun starting to peer out of the clouds as well, potentially just allowing you to have that bit more purchase from that soft compounder tyre. So it's still anybody's game, but yeah, look at the likes of Batainen, your championship leader, Isaac Lee, Prajibal as well. They're certainly drivers I would expect to at least prove by at least a 10th or 2.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is so close. We're on the longest circuit on the calendar, and yeah, anybody's game. Both the Aston Martins looking pretty good in P3 and P4, but them top two really strong banker laps to start off qualifying in the .3s. Did not expect that coming into it, but yeah, these F3 guys putting up a very close fight at the top. Still, I'd say 2 more solid runs to go. Some drivers already started to come out there. I think it's the Ferrari of Wojtek Steg, who's just coming out the pit lane now, and so is a few and a flurry of drivers as the pit comes alive once again as we head on to the second runs in qualifying. The Aston Martin, the Ferrari following suit, and the kick Sauber of Camille back out front once again.
Yeah, let's see what these drivers can do. It's going to be oh so crucial now to see what you can do in these middle points, especially for Valentino Labella as well, and also for Jakub too. They have not got competitive lap times. This is the moment where you need it. It will remove that pressure off your shoulders for the later points of the session. So you've got to make sure you can get those lap times in when you can. And actually, it started to rain. It has started to rain here, Alex. So everything I said about the track improvement might have just gone out the window, because Campbell Adams might have pulled the lap out of the bag when he needed to the most. The rain has started pouring. The Ardennes Forest has now started to become a monsoon. It is quite heavy rain, actually. That's quite early on. So I don't really see us getting many improvements, if any at all, because it's such a long lap. If it was somewhere like Austria, you could just be able to find a lap time before it got too greasy. But especially for the likes of Batainen, your championship leader, Tom Roberts, last week's pole man as well, it is disaster at the early stages of qualifying. And with the rain now pouring down, Campbell Adams might have took his chance by the scruff of his neck.
Absolutely, and the first person to try and set a lap time is Kamil Satura as we head around the final bus stop chicane. This might be his only chance to get to lapping, but I feel like by the time he gets to maybe the middle sector or sector 3, there's not going to be enough grip out there to improve on that 40.3 to try and snatch pole position away from Campbell Adams. But it's all about these next runs. Can anybody out there try and improve on their next laps in rainy conditions? I mean, this could be a snooze fest to the end, as this could be the first and final laps in qualifying. Camille's just heading down the Kemmel Straight. There's still a flurry of cars out there. Is anybody going to improve in that first sector? It's Camille coming up to the sector 1 line and is down by a 1/10.5, so not improving there. Wojtek Steg also coming down the Kemmel Straight with that rear wing open. Can he try and improve? He's improving by 300th of a second, and it's close, but now he's got the middle sector to navigate through and try and challenge the top guys. But out at the moment, still some cars improving in that first sector, but now it's all about the middle. More grip required, more downforce. Can anybody improve on this track? We'll have to find out in a few kilometers time.
We certainly will do. This middle sector is going to be so tricky, and with the rain as well, you start to be a little bit more tentative. You're not pushing at 100% because you're unknown to the grip, and it's a little bit of a visual distraction as well. Camille, he's laps over. He's 1.5 seconds down. So let's have a look at Wojtek Steg now heading through that middle sector split, heading through Stavilo 1 and up into Stavilo 2. He's down by 0.2 of a second, so it does seem in that middle sector things are starting to get a little bit slippery. So these drivers really starting to struggle. Enzo Sun was up by a 1/10.5 in the first sector. How much is he up by, or if he's up by anything in the middle? Of course, these drivers might also be affected by dirty air, because look how close they all are to one another. Camille elects to dive into pit lane. Same with Wojtek Steg as well. Tonelato into pits. I don't think anyone's improving here. Vasso into the pit lane. Everybody's just chucking it right at the bus stop chicane to go into pits. And yeah, I think the rain came down just that little bit soon, caught the drivers out. And unfortunately for the likes of Isaac Leap-Patinen, Valentino Labella, that's not been able to put a proper lap time on the board just yet. He could still potentially beat Jacob for that 16th place, so maybe keep an eye on the Alpine to see if he improves at least one position. But for Campbell Adams, he took that opportunity when he needed to the most. He took it by the scruff of its neck and was like, I'm snatching this pole position. Camille, we thought that lap might have been good enough, but at the death, the Alpine came out on top, with the Bella now heading up into the bus stop chicane.
Wow, one-shot qualifying here in F3, it seems. And let's see if Valentino can try and at least challenge Jacob at the back of the pack. And he's lost the rears on the exit of the chicane. And he's low. Oh, he's put it into P14. That's quite a decent lap time, to be honest. In these slightly damp conditions, puts into P14 with 140.8. And that's quite a decent lap time. But you'd like to think what he could have done if the track was completely dry. And I think he's just missed an opportunity early doors. And now still a few drivers out on track. I'm guessing everybody's just going to come into the pit lane. But that's just give us a solid half of qualifying to just relax, because everyone's going to be in the pit lane. There's no time for improvement out there. And are we going to see some rain in the race? Would we like to see some rain in the race? I absolutely would. So let's see if it correlates to when we head into the 22 lap shootout. But Campbell Adams, what a lap when he needed it most, and when it matters, the Alpine surely taking pole position today. I don't think anyone's going to else improve or even come out of the pit lane for the remainder of qualifying. So Campbell Adams surely takes pole position. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's especially at a circuit like Spa, where when that pressure is on, you've got it for so long. It's a 1:40 lap time, and you just constantly have that those thoughts in the back of your mind, just constantly saying, oh, here's the pressure. You got to make sure you get this lap time on the board. You got to make sure that everything goes in your favour. And for Campbell Adams, it certainly did it. For drivers like the Bella, like Felipe Salsa, Isaac Lee, Lucas Patinen, it's not gone in their favour at all. They've made mistakes when they've not needed to, when they potentially could have just played it safe. Maybe if you dial back a little bit, maybe if you take a 10th off your PB, say take a step back by a 10th, that could still be good enough for at least a top 10 start. But we're going to see drivers start to retire their cars. Now it's just the Bella coming into pit lane. But we could potentially see some rain on the cards, because, of course, this circuit. So susceptible to it here in the Ardennes Forest. And I wouldn't mind it like this either in the race, if it's changeable conditions. It adds that little bit extra spice to the race about being on that right tyre at the right time. So it's going to be interesting to see. And for Campbell Adams, if it does rain, he'll have to weather that storm because he'll be the first one onto those conditions. And that could make things even more challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, race predictions, anything can happen. I think Wojtek Steg is coming out for another lap. He's just came out of the pit lane. Here we go. He's on the intermediate tyres. So we're going to see a little run in these damp conditions. So I might just get a bit of practicing just in case it does rain in the race. But yeah, I'd like a bit of interchangeable conditions. Now, Max, do you prefer dry to wet or wet to dry?
Oh, that is a good question. I think I prefer dry to wet because I feel like it adds that little bit more scarcity to it. And I think you can... there's a lot more pressure when it's dry to wet because once it gets too wet, you're going to have no pace at all. You're sliding all over the road. Whereas if it's wet to dry, yes, you're still going to be slow, but the likes of the intermediates, they still have enough grip to somewhat give you the purchase you need, and you're not going to be constantly going off the road. You're just going to be that little bit slower. So I feel like there's a lot more pressure. You have to make that decision perfectly a lot better in those wet to dry conditions. And it's something as well that I think as a driver, it challenges you that little bit more to really understand the car and what grip you're feeling from it, especially when you're on the dries. And going from that point, yeah, I definitely prefer a dry to wet race over wet to dry. What about you though, Alex?
I'd have to agree. You know why? Because I feel like when wet weather comes, it can come at any time. And it's always interesting when you've got, let's say, 4 or 5 laps to go. The rain doesn't seem like it's coming down hard. Someone tries to go and stay out on the dries. It's a chase down at the end. I love that type of scenario. I think it's so good in the dries. I had it literally yesterday in a different league, and it was a great chase down to watch. So I think I'd got to say dry to wet. I think it's the best option out there. I love when sometimes there's 100% races and you see both twice, or like a wet, dry, wet, or something along the lines. I think that always spices things up. There's always a few safety cars. Wojtek Steg is actually on that, Max, here. Interesting in the intermediates. Is he practicing for some wet weather driving in the race?
Could certainly be. That could be everything that Wojtek Steg's doing, or just using a little bit of time at the end of the session to give everybody at home something to look at. This will be, I think, bring us to the end of the session, or he might cross the line just with 1 or 2 seconds left on the clock before he brings it to an end. No, this will be the one and done attempt pretty much on the intermediate, so he's just running the session out. I think Tom Roberts might not be able to retire, so he might as well have something to look at. But this race could certainly be quite interesting if that weather does arrive. Even if it doesn't, it's still going to be a very complex race with the strategy. Of course, a circuit like Spa, always an overtaking opportunity. And with the added dirty air, it could make things a little bit more challenging to get close enough to the driver in the middle sector. And that's where we could see different downforce settings on each car. So for Wojtek Steg, now as he's heading down into Stavolo, let's actually see the delta time between those intermediates and the slicked shot softs. 5 seconds. So if you're looking at trying to do a dry to wet, or a dry to wet, should I say, the intermediates, when it's somewhat damp, are 5 seconds off the slick tyres.
Yeah, it's still, I mean, it's not too wet out there. Obviously, it's definitely intermediates now. You can see a few damp patches out on the track visually. But yeah, Wojtek Steg just showing was a nice lap as qualifying has officially came to an end and the Ferrari crosses the line. And the only man set a lap on the intermediate tyres. Fair play for giving us something to watch for the final few kilometres and seconds in qualifying. But there we go then. One-shot qualifying, it seems, done here in F3. And it is Campbell Adams who did it when it matters most. And it's a 40.302, the pole position time here in F3. Camille Statura in P2 and 400th behind. Enzo Soom in P3. Leonardo Tenela in P4. Stephen Vasso in P5. Rihad Sprogis in P6. Wojtek Steg in P7. And the only driver to set an intermediate lap time. But we're heading into the race now. What can happen? We'll have to wait and see. 22 laps of racing action. and yeah, around the absolute phenomenal. Oh, it's raining.
Oh, it is raining. So, Wojtek Steg, even though the conditions are nowhere near representative to what we have right now, maybe just getting a little bit of a feel for how his setup is on those intermediate tyres. And it is raining pretty heavily. So, could we see, if it does increase, the extreme wet compound of tyres come out, or will it gradually fade away? We could get one of the types of races we just talked about, Alex, with the wet to dry race. And potentially it could do both. You never know. Here in Spa, the weather can throw anything at you. So this is going to be a very interesting race indeed, especially with drivers out of place like Isaac Leap-Patinen, Felipe as well, and also Gregory Przeeble, round one's race winner. There is still plenty to play for. This could be a very chaotic race of drivers potentially falling back and drivers moving forward. And that could be also why, Alex, quickly, why the likes of Patinen were so low down the order, because they were on a wet setup.
That is very, very true. Yeah, that's definitely one thing to keep in mind. Is Parc Ferme off or on? I know some people do run it off, but I'm not sure if they run it on in PSGL. But yeah, if there was running a wet setup, that will explain it. But here we go. The engine rise, the lights prepare to fall, and here in the shadow of the forest, the silence breaks and the battle begins. Campbell Adams gets away well. He's going to easily cover off the inside line down to turn number 1. As we go down to La Source, it's already clear at the front, and as the run down to Radion storms ahead, Campbell Adams is clear. Further behind, Camille Satura fighting away. Enzo Soon, Ben Leonardo on Stephen Vasso going side by side as we head to the top of Eau Rouge. As Riyad Sprongis also going for a move. It's cars absolutely everywhere. As we head down the Kemmel Straight, down to Lake Om, it's going 3 wide behind. And the Ferrari opts into the inside line. It's Wojtek Steg on Riyad Sprongis trying to make that move. But it's Riyad who just stays ahead. And I think Isaac Lee has had an instant further behind. He dropped through the order, and so has Jacob and P17. But he's side by side now with the Haas and the Kick Sauber of Ryan Modler. He's still side by side as Tomasetto also gets through on Ryan Modler. But it's Campbell Adams who pulls away at the front, and further behind, that's Stephen Vasso going off the track at No Name Corner.
Yeah, Vasso obviously making a mistake there. Don't know what happened to the Haas driver, and Tom Roberts has had a dream start from 18th on the grid, already up into 13th. A lovely getaway from the Scuderia Ferrari driver. Valentino Labella, another driver who's had a very nice start. He's now scrubbling with Buba for 10th place for the last World Championship point. So for Labella, all over the back of the Red Bull. Nothing to be done so far, and actually a little tap from Felipe behind as well. But for Campbell Adams, it's been a dream getaway. Look at that, 1.4 seconds clear already. What a start. Your biggest winners and your biggest losers so far. It's Stephen Vasso down 13, Isaac Leak down 4. Your biggest winner is Tom Roberts, joined Tom Roberts with 5, and then tied second would be Labella and Felipe, both up 3 as well. So this race, of course, in the intermediates, no DRS, and there's that Valentino Labella round with potentially Felipe Salsa as well.
Yeah, just in the background, got tapped on the rears. Did Valentino Labella, now down to P13 after a mistake at the chicane from a driver behind, just tapped the rears. But look at the gap out front as we head to the top of Radion and Eau Rouge once again. Campbell Adams, 1.5 seconds clear. What a start it has been. 20 laps to go. What can happen from here? Is it going to go dry? Strategy's up for question. Now Riyad Sprongis nearly looking to the inside line. He's been very close to the Aston Martins ahead, but so far just not close enough to dive to the inside line. But so far it is close throughout the whole pack. We've seen battling through the middle sector too, which is always a pleasure to watch, and a bit of contact only with Valentino Labella so far, and the two Hasses of Stephen Vasso and Tomasetto. But at the moment, Campbell Adams, what a start. 2 seconds clear, and I think something's happened now to Buba, who's dropping through the order. I think just went wide at the no-name corner. Must have tried to move, and now into the gravel and fallen back down to P16.
Yeah, he's actually lost his front right end plate as well. I think just got on the curb on entry, and it just spits you into that gravel trap and potentially into the wall. But yeah, Campbell Adams taking like a duck to water to these conditions so far. He loves this circuit, does Adams, though. He really is so strong around it, and no matter what league he is in. Stephen Vasso, I think, is just disconnected from the session, unfortunately. So for the Ukrainian, it goes from bad to worse. So as we head up into the bus stop chicane, as we head through Blanchimont, what are we going to see from these drivers? We're going to see a move from anybody just yet. Of course, in these intermediate conditions, moves are a lot more difficult to make. Everything is all just going to be about getting a good run out of the corners, but Campbell Adams still leading that way. And I think the closest driver we have to trying to make that move will be Tomasetto Alea on Wojtek Steg. Good start from Tomasetto so far, but it's looking to try and pounce further up the order.
Yes, absolutely. But, wow, Campbell Adams is flying away in these interchangeable conditions. And is it going to go dry? I want to know that one with the remainder of these 22 laps to go. But still, at the moment, 2.2 seconds is that gap to Camille in P2, and he's not doing a bad job at all. And here comes Wojtek Steg to the inside line of Riyad Sprogis on the route down the Kemmel Straight and into Lacombe. He gets the place done, and the Ferrari finally gets ahead of Riyad Sprogis and up into P5. Can he now try and push on and challenge the two Aston Martins, or is Riyad going to try and come back around the outside as we head into Bruxelles? Needs a better run on the exit if he wants to try and move downhill to No Name Corner, but no, this time around just has to stay behind, and Wojtek Steg gets the place done up into P5.
Nicely done there from Wojtek. I just said about him being under pressure from Tomasetto. He's proved me instantly wrong. A little slide through Pouon, but that intermediate tyre practice he had in qualifying does seem to be working in his favour. And just further up, that's Enzo Sum going a little bit deep into the Piff Paff chicane, and this could allow him to come under pressure from his teammate Leonardo Tonolato. So there could be a little into Aston Martin scrap for position here as we head up through Stavolo to Campbell Adams, just keep on stretching his legs up at the front of the field. Now up 2.7 seconds over Camille Statura, who's nearly just broken a second from Enzo Sum as well. It's all about keeping your intermediates in a good window, in a good condition with temperatures, and also make sure you don't slide about too much with that rear end, because the more you slide, the more wear you put on your tyres, and it's all about just keeping them nice and comfortable. So for Campbell Adams, it's another fastest lap, instantly beaten by Wojtek Steg. It does seem that Ferrari does have a lot of pace in its locker, could potentially now attack Leonardo Tonolato.
Absolutely, looks very, very quick. Does Wojtek Steg down in P5. He's got the move on Riyad Sprogis. Now can he try and push on to the Aston Martin duo of Enzo Sum and Leonardo right in behind? And now I say right in behind, it's really close as we head onto the Kemmel Straight. Can he try and close in the straights? I think Enzo Sum just has it covered off, but further back, that is Tomasetto going for a move down the inside, but here comes back. Does Riyad Sprogis a quick dive to the inside line, but it is Tomasetto who gets the move. But here comes Riyad Sprogis looking for the optimal line and gets the run downhill to Bruxelles. It's side by side between the pair. Riyad Sprogis outside, the inside for Tomasetto, who can come out on top. He's still held it around the outside, and that is simply beautiful defending from Riyad Sprogis. But here comes Tomasetto. He's not giving this one up as we go on the run down to Pouon. He gets the move done up into P6, and it was close between the pair, but what a move from Tomasetto to hold it round the outside in these wet conditions. Phenomenal.
Yeah, brilliant move there from Tomasetto Alea. Of course, the outside line being somewhat the more optimal line in these conditions, but it was beautiful. Instead of defending from Riyad Sprogis, he did not want to give that one up without a fight and could still fight his way back past the Haas driver. Further up, Wojtek Steg is getting closer as well to Tonoletto and Enzo Sum, so we could see a little battle brewing there within the next few quarters. But the problem that Sprogis has is very low on battery. That's what allowed Tomasetto Alea through in the first place, is that Riyad Sprogis run out of battery. And here comes Ryan Modler looking to the inside line into the bus stop chicane. Not able to get the move done this time around, but a corner like this, the bus stop chicane, the exit here is just oh so crucial to get right. Same with La Source as well. Arguably, La Source and Stavolo are the two most crucial corners to get right here at Spa, because they give you such a long run after that of full throttle racing down into the next corner. So as we head through Rouge and Radion, it's still Campbell Adams leading the way from Camille Statura, Enzo Sum and Tonolato. Wojtek Steg rounds out your top 5, but Tomasetto Alea will want to bring that gap down to the top 5, currently lying in 6th.
Absolutely, his car's absolutely everywhere down the straight. There was actually a bit of contact between the Aston Martins and Wojtek Steg heading into the bus stop chicane, but yeah, no damage there at all. But I think it just congested under braking on the exit heading on to lap number 5. But at the moment, the Mercedes of Gregory closing up to Ryan Modler, as well as we head around this middle sector now. But at the moment, everyone's still bunched up in this mid-pack and looking to make some move. Wojtek Steg is the closest man ahead to Leonardo Tonelato, and at the moment, looking to make the move. He's just not been close enough on the route down to Lake Om. And like you said, Lasos is the crucial place to get a good exit. So is Stavler. I couldn't say it better myself as Wojtek Steg. Let's see if he can try and do it this time around and try and get the move done on the Aston Martin. So he's definitely got the pace to maybe push further on and get past Enzo Soom as well. Just how quick he can do it. Maybe to deny Camille as well from trying to push on in this race. But it's still only lap 5, a long way to go. Wojtek Steg up to P5, but Campbell Adams has just been flying out front. It's increasing that gap lap on lap. And it's 3.3 seconds heading on to lap number 6.
Yeah, lovely stuff from the Alpine. Wojtek Steg so far this season, 2 7th places. So just like Camille Statura, very consistent start to the season, but not really where he would want to be. So now heading into the source, there is actually a little scrap further back between Felipe Sousa and Cloud. So that could that's actually worked into the Mercedes' favour. But the V-Carb sends it back to the inside line. But Felipe, is he just going to be able to hold on? Yes, he is on that outside line. Gets the better drive out of La Source. But back further up, look at Wojtek Steg. He's all over the back of Tonelato. Could this be the move? The Ferrari's been shaping up for the past few laps. He's tucked into that slipstream now, heading up into Lecom. Late on the brakes he'll go, but just no room there. Brilliant defending from Tonelato. Put his car in the middle of the road, made it big and wide, and Wojtek Steg had nowhere to go. So for the Ferrari, he has to sit behind agonizingly longer, just staring at the back of that Valvoline sponsorship on the back of the Aston Martin. And unfortunately for Steg, this is allowing Tomasetto Alea to catch up to the back of the Haas as Sousa and Cloud keep squabbling for that 13th place.
Yes, they absolutely do, but it just seems that Leonardo is just placing the car in exactly where he needs to do it, and he's denying Wojtek making that move, and we'll see if it happens once again. But yeah, I think Wojtek might just have to change his approach. He doesn't have a straight line speed just to fly through like probably in the dry conditions. Tom Roberts is making a move on Ryan Modler. It's been very close in this mid-pack, and the Ferrari does get through, and I've just seen the championship leader Lucas as well, just right behind. He rid way too much curb on the exit, and he's now really under pressure from Valentino Labella on the exit of turn number 15. Curve de Paul Frere, and on the route down past Blanchimon is really under pressure from the Alpine in behind. We'll have to look further up in a few moments time to see if Wojtek Steg does make that move. Heading on to lap number 7, but let's see if Valentino can try and dive. I don't think he can this time round, as Campbell Adams once again, fastest lap after fastest lap. What pace is he setting as Tomasetto actually just sets fast lap, then Gregory as well in the Mercedes.
Yeah, time's certainly starting to tumble. Track conditions getting better and better. You can see that dry line start to form. But of course, still the rain pouring quite heavily here in Spa, in the Ardennes Forest. So no chance we'll get some slick running any time soon. Lap 7 of 22. And here comes Tomasetto Alea on Wojtek Steg. Unfortunately for the Ferrari, his time has run out. And the Haas driver pulls to that left-hand side and gets through nice and easily. Tomasetto Alea has got an abundance of pace in that American-based car. And it is raw speed and power for Tomasetto Alea. That's now promoted him up into 5th place and looking all over the back of Tonelato. But we know how good this Aston Martin is at defending his position. He just places the car exactly where he needs to, and it just means nobody has anywhere to go and to be able to get by, and that has always been one of Tonelato's strengths. So for Tomasetto Alea, he's the next challenger to the Tonelato reign on that P4. So let's see what he can do as we're heading into the end of this middle sector now.
He just flew out of the source and had the overhead speed. He looked so comfortable on the lap before that. Got the fastest lap too, temporarily. So yeah, Tomasetto setting some really good pace, and now Wojtek's progress has been halted and demoted now to P6. And let's see if Tomasetto can try and make a move. It's very close in the pack, and the fight for P10 at the minute. Championship leader trying to get through on Ryan Modler, but not close enough this time around. And at the moment, I think everyone will just settle in this lap. I don't think anyone's close enough to make any sort of move in these wet conditions. No sign of it drying up. There's still more of a dry line forming, but the rain's still falling here in Spa-Francorchamps. Campbell Adams sets the fastest lap once again, 55.1. 4 seconds clear out front. It's been fantastic pace so far, but there's Tomasetto once again taking that fastest lap by a few tenths of a second, and now chasing Leonardo Tonoletto right in front of it. See if he can try and make the move, heading on the route past Eau Rouge and Radion, and setting some really strong pace so far in this mid-first stint for the Haas car.
He certainly has, and we've seen how strong he is up Rouge and Radion. And look at it once again. Just look at the overspeed he gets. He's just so planted up that hill. The rain just does not seem to phase his commitment at all. Looking to the outside line now. Once again, brilliant defending from Tonolato. Prajibal able to get past Rihard Sprogis as well. We head up through the comms. So nicely done from the Mercedes. He's setting some lightning pace behind that Red Bull as well. So he could be now next to challenge Wojtek Steg. But for Tomasetto Alea, again, another driver that's had a missed opportunity at trying to get by on Tonolato. That Aston Martin defending superbly so far at the front of the field. Once more, Campbell Adams up to 4 seconds now that race lead. So really stretching his legs in that Alpine. But for Camille Statura, he's holding up this train of around about 4 cars. And for him, he needs to just be able to keep doing what he is doing. He's kept that gap and he's kept Enzo Suma at arm's reach. So for Statura, he's doing everything right at the moment.
Absolutely. But yeah, Leonardo has been so good on the defense. He's been really good on the brakes, heading into Les Combes. Actually nearly made contact with Enzo Sum if it was any later on the brakes, but yeah, nailed it to keep Tomasetto behind. Wojtek Steg putting under pressure Tomasetto once again as we head past Blanchimont. Can he try and go for a move into the bus stop chicane? I don't think he's close enough this time around, but yeah, still Wojtek Steg hanging in there, and his pace is still pretty good. But yeah, in that first sector, it does seem Tomasetto just has the pace to set off and try and challenge the 2 Aston Martins ahead, as fastest laps tumbling down once again as we head on to lap number 9, Alpha 22 on the exit of La Source. Who's going to be close to make a move? Few guys in the pit stop so far. Buba and Valentino Libella both in the stops, and going on to another set of inters, I am sure. But here we go then, once again with Tomasetto. That line through Eau Rouge and Radion is just phenomenal. But once again, pulling out to the slipstream, it looks a lot faster with the overhaul of overhead speed as we go now into Les Combes. He pulls well and truly ahead, and finally, one driver gets through on the Aston Martin of Leonardo Tonoletto, and that is Tomasetto making the move up to P4. The pace is phenomenal. Can he try and challenge his teammate Enzo Sum up ahead? What a move. That could be crucial for progress in this race up into P4.
It certainly is, and Tomasetto Alea has finally defeated the valiant defender of Tonolato, and that battle for 4th has unfortunately come to an end for Tomalato, and he'll probably now potentially come under pressure from Wojtek Steg. Tomasetto Alea, we know, so quick up through Rouge and Radion, and it really just showed that that line is just so precise. He doesn't put a foot wrong up that hill, and the car just seems on rails when he's in that first sector. A little bit sketchy through the middle, and then up through Blanchimont as well. Again, just seeming to be completely on rails. So that car definitely a bit lower on the downforce, I feel like, but still working so nicely in Tomasetto's hands, and he's now looking at potential podium place as we're about to reach the halfway point in this race. And actually, Enzo Sum darts it into the pit lane. Same with Wojtek Steg as well. As those intermediates are starting to get worn, this is when the moments you need to move on to a fresh set. And that undercut, not as powerful as it would be on the dries, but let's certainly see what can happen as these drivers move on to fresh intermediates.
Absolutely, it's time. Half race distant, and Enzo Sum going for an undercut before his teammate Leonardo Tonoletto and Camille Statura as well up ahead of him. So let's see if the outlap does work, because you'd think in the dry conditions it can be crucial to get that undercut done. Obviously very high tyre wear though on this game, you've always got to keep that in mind too. But yeah, still pit stops coming in. Campbell Adams has got quite a few seconds in his favour as well, so maybe he can try and extend, so he's got a better run and better set of tyres for the final stint. But still, 12 laps to go. First pit stops coming in. The rain, no sign of stopping. I think we've got it to the end, But yeah, Campbell Adams out front has been truly phenomenal in this first stint. 4 seconds out front. He only needed 1 lap in qualifying, and as the pit stops happen, he's got it in his favour to do whatever he wants and go a few laps longer to prioritise tyre wear in this second stint. And let's see if Camille comes in this lap. Tomasetto, I'm sure Leonardo will too. And let's see if the undercut has worked for the drivers behind and who have already pitted.
Yeah, and actually Wojtek Steg has been able to get past Enzo Soom, so a big move there in terms of the race. And for Enzo Soom, I don't know what's happening unless he's made a mistake out of no name, because it's quite an unconventional place to pass for Wojtek Steg there down into Puon. It was actually before Puon corner as well, so I think Soom might have got on the gravel, and that's unfortunately put him behind a Scuderia Ferrari. So has that undercut potentially worked for Steg the best, and could he now potentially put himself into P3? If not, P2 in the runnings of things. There comes Campbell Adams into the pit lane. Everybody else will surely follow in, unless you're maybe Tom Robertson Patinen, potentially going to be holding out for a safety car, but no. Patinen, your championship leader, into the pit lane. Cloud is staying out for an extra lap. What about Jakub? What is he going to do? He's also staying out for an extra lap there for VCarb. So, for Kamil Statura, where are you going to come out in relation to Wojtek Steg? Wojtek is up into turn 1. Camille on the exit now of the pit lane, and for Wojtek Steg, he's going to come out behind Tomasetto Alea, but he's managed to jump Tonelato, so brilliantly done there from the Ferrari to at least jump one car, and Prajibal is now on the back of Enzo Soom as he's been able to pass Tonelato as well. So for Alea, Steg and Prajibal, the overcut, sorry, has worked in their favour, and for Steg and Prajibal, the undercut has really worked for him, as he have been able to move up into 8th place, and for Wojtek Steg now up to 4th in the runnings. Kamil Statura has actually been able to extend that advantage over the field behind.
Absolutely. Wojtek Steg actually didn't have the best outlap as well. He made a few mistakes on the exit of Stavolo. He did that rear left into the gravel. And yeah, to be honest, I didn't think it was going to work in the end. But yeah, still, that could be crucial on Tonelletto. He knows how tricky it is to pass around this circuit, and especially on the Aston Martin, who's been a brick wall right up ahead. But still, 11 laps to go. Half race distance now. Kamil Statura has been phenomenal in the pit lane and did exactly what he needs to get away from the cars behind and maybe try and solidify his P2, as Cloud's still yet to come in the pit lane. So is Jacob as well. But yeah, still, half race distance to go. You never know what can happen. That is the beauty of the sport. As I think, oh, what's going on behind? That's a championship leader. Then Valentino Libella into the grass. And that's down at turn number 13 at Campus. And on the route down to Stavolo, and that, I'm not sure what happened between the full trio there, but Felipe, Valentino, and Lucas all involved in that one. And that's Valentino off in the grass, and it's been a terrible day for Lucas, our championship leader. Hopefully, he can try and bounce back and maybe score a point or two if he tries to push on from here. But yeah, definitely not had the pace in the wet conditions. He's now under pressure from Felipe down in P14 as well.
Yeah, it certainly has not been. It's been a day to forget, really, for Lucas Patinen after just getting a good, getting a good result last time out in, in Saudi. Of course, in Saudi Arabia last time out, taking that championship lead away from Gregory Prajibal. And unfortunately, this one here in Spa has not gone into his favour at all. Statura now 1.7 seconds ahead of Tomasetto Alea. And now Felipe all over the back of Patinen. That's a beautiful run out of Radion. And you can see him now pull to that left-hand side and breeze past beautifully on the McLaren. What happened between the Bella and Putinen was into Campus Corner. It seemed that Putinen just got a little bit hot on the brakes. The Bella had to be forced off onto the grass, and unfortunately, nothing could be done in the Alpine's favour as Wojtek Steg now moves his way past Jakub as well. So it seems that VCAR being a little bit of a mobile chicane for some of these drivers and allowing drivers in front just to extend their gaps over the cars behind. As you can see, Wojtek Steg now a second behind Tomasetto Alea, and for Enzo Soom as well. He'll probably drop about a second away from Wojtek Steg too. So for Jacob, he really is starting to struggle, and it's really hindering that front pack, and this could really ruin any chance of the likes of Prajibal, Soom or Tonelato's battle for the podiums.
Absolutely, it was very close between the pack, now separated as Wojtek Steg 1.2 ahead. Tomasetto managed to create a gap, well, a slight gap to Wojtek Steg 2, who just got past within a good set of time, but Enzo Soom Still not close enough to make a move. He needs to get closer before the bus stop chicane. And there is Jakob as well up ahead as we head into the bus stop chicane. Heavy on the brakes. Is he going to finally come into the pit lane and let these guys set free? He's going to stay out for one more lap. So hoping for a safety car must be on this strategy. Great exit though for Enzo Soom, who flies past now. Jakob, who's still holding the inside line. He's going to fight this one on the route down to the source. He's oversteered into Enzo Soom too, and that's going to allow Gregory Pajibel also to try and make a move. He's covered him off on the exit of the source. It's carnage in this pack, held up by Jakob, who's still yet to stop. We've got the two Aston Martins and the Mercedes right in the mix, and now Leonardo Tonoletto, he's trying to get his elbows out. It's going side by side with Enzo Soom and Jakob as well. It's going 3 wide, diving to the inside line. It's Gregory Pajibel who gets through on the route down to Lake Om. Crucial move for Gregory, who flies through in the Mercedes on both the Aston Martins and the RB2. Phenomenal stuff. And now, can he push on from here to try and fight Wojtek Steg to the end? There's still a long way to go. Crucial move for Gregory Pajibel. Gets past both the Aston Martins on lap number 13. That was absolutely perfect.
It certainly was. Nicely done there from Gregory Pajibel. Got that run, saw the small gap on the inside between the tarmac and the grass, and was just able to slip on by. And for Enzo Soom, I reckon he is furious in that Aston Martin cockpit. It's cost him not 1, but 2 places as that V-carb, and unfortunately, I think a 7th place finish is the best he's going to get. He has looked quite slow on these newer sets of tyres, nowhere near as quick as he once was. So for Gregory Pajibel, he's now got his new challenge of hunting down Wojtek Steg, and we know Pajibel is quick in these conditions. He did set the fastest lap at one point during this race, and we'll see what he's going to be able to do now in this clean air, trying to hunt down that Ferrari. There's Campbell Adams with another fastest lap. Fastest lap has actually come down by about 3 seconds since the start of this race. That shows you how much of a dry line is starting to form around this circuit, as Cloud is now past Lucas Bataille, and the championship leader really struggling down now, potentially in 14th place. As Cloud's going to fight this one back into the source. No, he is not. He's just going to sit behind for now. And further up, the closest battle we have at the front of the field is Tonelato versus Pajibel. Is the Aston Martin going to get a good run out of Erosion Radion? It doesn't seem good enough, so he's going to have to sit behind for now. And Cloud all over the back of Patinen. I think he's got the run he needs, and he's going to look to the outside line here. Is Cloud going to be able to get by Potanen? We'll keep fighting this one. Of course, the championship leader looking for any points he can possibly get later on in this race, but unfortunately, the V-carb sees himself through. And I think this is actually some team games here, Alex, from the V-carbs, because the more that Jakob holds up the rest of this pack, the more Cloud can gain those positions.
Absolutely, it's held up very, very well. And now we've got this mid-pack also trying to get through on Jakob as well. Ryan Modler's through, but now he's holding up Tom Roberts. Felipe Zusi is getting out the way low on the route down P1. I think he knows not to fight it down here. We've got some feisty drivers in behind, settling some positions, and here comes Cloud, and his teammate right behind is looking to the outside. He's actually holding up his teammate at this phase, so I think them team games have gone well and truly out the window, as Jakob still holding up Cloud as the RBs coming very close. And now Patinen also looking to try and get past Cloud on the exit of turn number 14 and 15. Let's see if he can try and get through on his teammate. But yes, absolutely no team games here. And maybe just going for the long run, see if there's a safety car, I'm guessing, at this point. But still, all the way down to P12, he's just running it out there for no reason at this point. He's dropping positions, he's dropped plenty of time, and now definitely nowhere near the optimum strategy. But still, 7 laps to go. And, or maybe, is it going to dry up towards the end? I mean, there's still 7 laps to go. Maybe that's what he tried to wait for. But it must be right at the very end, because the rain's still falling down. There's no signs of it stopping. And yeah, I think it's just a poor decision. I don't know what he's doing at this phase.
Yeah, if anything, the rain is maybe ever so slightly heavier than it once was. So yeah, for Jakob, I have no idea what he is doing here, and I think he's just staying out because I think he knew his race was lost anyway. So might as well have a little bit of fun while you can. Here comes his teammate Cloud, and here comes Potainen as well, potentially. Further up, Ryan Modler is actually trying to move on Rehard Sproggis. Not able to get the move done just yet. This could invite Tom Robertson. Is there contact behind? There is. It's Lucas Potainen, your championship leader, sent into a spin. And unfortunately for Potainen, this day gets from bad to worse. When it rains, it certainly does pour. And for Potainen, it is really disappointing to see. I think there was contact with Cloud there into Lecom. And unfortunately, Cloud had to cut across the chicane. Potainen's got wing damage and he's into the wall again. And yeah, I think a bit angry. And it's brought out a safety car.
Wow.
Whoa. So I would say that was an on-purpose or maybe just a bit of an angry crash there from Lucas Potainen. Into the wall, the front wing's gone everywhere, and we've got a safety car. We've actually got a squabble between Roberts and Felipe over who got 10th place. And I think Tom Roberts just got it in time, was able to hold on to his position. So this brings out a safety car. This does change the complexion of things. Do you come in for a new set of intermediates? You should be fresher, you should be a little bit quicker, or do you keep that track position? That is going to be the detrimental thing here. And for Thomas Seto Alea, he was already gaining, and Campbell Adams into the pit lane. So do drivers stay out and hope to hold on? I think Camille Statura has done so. No, he's into the pit lane as well. Everybody coming in, are they in for a new set of inters or for drives potentially? A new set of inters going. Surely someone further back is going to try a Hail Mary and potentially just sit out on these tyres to see how much they can hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. But a safety car, and Campbell Adams, who's led every single lap of this race, and can he lead the remainder? And I mean, it's been a phenomenal race. He's now been grouped up. Camille's going to be right behind him, maybe going to challenge for the win as well. But anything can happen in the remainder of these laps. 6 to go. Campbell Adams will lead away from a safety car when we do get back underway, but everyone grouped up once again. But the incident down at Lecom, it went 3 wide between the McLaren and both the RBs of Cloud and Jakob, and it ended up in absolute tears between the trio, who was still well and truly side by side, heading into turn number 5 and turn number 6. Knock-on effect right into each other, and that just demolished Potainen's race. Championship leader out on lap number 16. Carnage here for him in Spa, and like I said, when it rains it pours. It's been more of a monsoon for Lucas Potainen, but still a long season to go. And yeah, let's see if he can get his head held high heading to the next few rounds.
Yeah, disaster only in round 3 when you want to get your season off to a good start. It's not gone the way Potainen would have wanted here in Spa. He has, of course, got a good performance out in Austria with that 2nd place. And of course, he backed it up some more points in Saudi Arabia. But you want to start your season off nicely. It's not gone the way that Potainen would have wanted. So of course, these opening rounds are so crucial to cement yourself as a championship challenger. If you leave it too late, potentially see your chances dwindling more and more as the races tick by. But for Campbell Adams, this now puts... Oh, he's left the session. He's disconnected.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is crucial. I hope he can get back into the session. But for Campbell Adams, I was going to say just before he disconnected, this already puts his race lead in jeopardy because, of course, Camille Statura is going to be all over the back of him, heading into the source and up into the com. So for Campbell Adams, this late safety car might have caused all sorts of issues.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Maybe it was destined to happen. I mean, maybe he's glad it happened on the safety car, but I mean, there's been a few little disconnects through the session as well. There's been a bit of desync from my side as well, so I'm not sure there's something to do with the lobby. It is quite common on this game as well to have some sort of desync issues. But hopefully Campbell Adams does get back in. Race leader for all 17 laps of this race, and has been truly phenomenal out front, and is definitely not a more deserving race winner today than that man in the Alpine. So let's see if you can bring it home and get back into that Alpine with only 5 laps to go, and then hopefully the safety car might just stay out a little bit longer for him. But yeah, I mean, it's not the way he would have wanted it to go, but still 5 laps to go. Campbell Adams will lead us away from under the safety car. Hopefully he does get back in the lobby and back in the Alpine, but Camille Statura, you're hoping for the worst for him, and just try and get into that race lead as soon as he possibly can on the route down to La Source. or down the Kemmel Straight into Lacom. Who knows what's going to happen? Podium's still yet to be decided, but it is Campbell Adams, Kamil Stachura, and Tomasetto in P3, and Wojtek Steg right behind Tomasetto as well. Match following through, and that is the battle for the podium places, but still quite a relatively long way to go here at such a long circuit, especially in the wet conditions. It's been a fantastic race as well. Got to be said, there's been action every single lap. Drivers closing in on each other after that one-shot qualifying, fully wet race throughout. And yeah, been a good one to watch, and hopefully the last 5 laps going to cause a little bit more action for us to commentate on here in the commentary box.
Yes, let's hope so. And for Campbell Adams, time is certainly ticking, because he will not have long left until the safety car comes in. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in at the end of this lap, so we can have a total of 5 racing laps. A 5-lap dash, a little 5-lap open lobby at this moment in time to get us to the end here. So for Campbell Adams, I really do hope he can get back in, as when we cross that second sector split, there we go, safety car in at the end of this lap. And unfortunately for oh, he's back! Can he join back in time? There is quite a long run up into Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane. The AI do tend to leave it late. So for Campbell Adams, a lifeline at the dying embers of the safety car.
Wow, that was getting nerve-wracking for the Alpine, I bet, but he's just got back in the car, just in the nick of time. But when's he gonna go? Has he got fully back in the Alpine before we get going once again on the route down to the bus stop chicane? As here we go for the safety car restart, the first and only of this race so far. Campbell Adams does get his foot down, and the battle begins once again. His lead cut down from 4 seconds. Kamil Stachura right in behind as we head into the source. I think he is back in that car, as we see on the exit. Maybe not. No, I think he is absolutely in the braking zone and on the power once again. Campbell Adams needs to hold off Kamil Stachura on this restart and trying to push on like we know he can, as we go to the top of Radion once again with 4 laps to go. Campbell Adams weaving to try and break the toe, and on the route down the Kemmel Straight, slipstream to Camille. Tomasetto right in behind, inside line for Campbell Adams. Who's late on the brakes? Who can hold it round the outside? Camille having to cut the corner, and now giving the place back to Campbell Adams. Gets a 3-second time bound to go with it, and here comes Tomasetto to the inside line at Bruxelles. It's the kick versus the Haas car. Inside line for the Haas. He gets the move done, and Tomasetto up into P2. He's definitely had one of the best paces throughout the whole field today, and now has a shot to try and go for this race win. Does the Haas. As you can see, Campbell Adams just up ahead, 5 tenths up the road, 4 laps to go. Can he try and chase him? Can he try and grab the win and pull it away from Campbell Adams at the dying embers of the race? The safety car shook it up. Campbell Adams still in the lead, but anything's up for grabs.
It would have been a heart-in-the-mouth moment there for Campbell Adams with that safety car ending, because he might not have been able to join in time, or potentially disconnected again. So he might have been a little bit shaken after that one. And we know Tomasetto Alea has got lightning pace in that Haas. He's been so quick all race long, but so has Campbell Adams as well. It's a battle of 2 heavyweights for this race victory. And of course, Kamil Stachura will surely contest that penalty and say it was not fair at all. And I would like to get that removed, so we could still have a fight from the kick salver as well. So as we exit another bus stop chicane into La Source we go. 4 laps remaining in this Belgium Grand Prix, and it is still all certainly to play for. Campbell Adams a few laps ago would have thought, I've got this one pretty much in the bag, but it's racing. Anything can happen any moment. Any mistake can see that safety car pulled out, and it certainly has, as here comes Tomasetto Alea using that lightning run we have seen all race long from the Haas driver. Upper Rouge and Radion to the outside line he goes, and Alea hits the front of the field. To the outside, into the com. Alea into the lead. He's not been there all race, from 9th to 1st, but still, he's got 3.5 laps to hold on. Campbell Adams will not take this one lying down, and he will want to fight back for what he rightly thinks would be his.
Absolutely, but what a line this man has, and the grip, and wow, under the pressure. through Eau Rouge and Radion. The exit he gets is truly phenomenal, and Tomasetto Alaya hits the forefront for the first time this race, and only the second race leader in this race too, and the Campbell Adams through the middle sector has been able to close in, but that crucial line for Tomasetto up Eau Rouge and Radion might just deny Campbell Adams any chance to fight back, but he's still got 2.5 laps to fight. Tomasetto in that race lead, Campbell Adams in P2, Camille Statura in P3, but with a 3-second time penalty after that incident on the restart. Still, anything can happen. It is definitely not under safety car, like it's in the top left. It is green flag running here in Spa-Francorchamps, and absolute phenomenal race, iconic race at such an iconic circuit here in F3. And at the moment, Tomasetto, as he makes his way onto the 20th lap of racing, is leading here in Spa.
Yep, Tomasetto Alea. Now as we start lap 20 of 22, also sets the fastest lap to go with it, with that race lead. Now, still got all that pressure building on for him from race leader for every single lap, Campbell Adams. So it will be the slipstream, the run up through Eau Rouge and Radion. I think there was a move further back from Tom Roberts and Ryan Modler, but we really want to keep a look at this top two. But look at the run that Tomasetto gets, even when he is in that clean air. Campbell Adams cannot get anywhere near him, and that really does write him out of the equation, you would think so. There's Ryan Modler getting back past Tom Roberts for that 9th place as well. So for Ryan Modler, he is now back up into 9th. Some good points still being scored. It's only 2, but they could be crucial come the end of the season. And for Tomasetto Alea up in front, he's doing everything he can to hold on to this one. So for the Haas driver, he leads the way currently from Campbell Adams, from Camille Statura, who's just gone wide, and this might allow Wojtek to pounce into Buon.
Right in behind, it's under 0.2 of a second. Camille under pressure, and as he's seizing under pressure, as he sees the scarlet red Ferrari dancing in the rain right behind to try and grab the podium place out on track. But still, wow, what a race you have in our hands. Campbell Adams just can't seem to respond. Tomasetto, we saw him in the midst of that first stint, setting fastest laps and taking it away from Campbell Adams. We know he's got the pace, but after the one-shot qualifying scenario, couldn't get it in qualifying. But still, can he take the race win and deny Campbell Adams and rip it away from him in the dying embers here in Spa? I mean, still, anything can happen. Mistake can be made, just like we've seen Camille do, but still closing into the back of Campbell Adams in the final sector and keeping Wojtek behind. But here we go. Tom Roberts and Ryan Modler fighting once more. Tom Roberts gets back through on the kick Sauber, but we head onto lap number 21. Tomasetto Alaya, nearly a second clear on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Phenomenal pace, phenomenal effort, and out front might just take the race win, but it doesn't want to jinx it for the remainder of the 14 kilometers of racing to go.
He certainly does not, and he's 1 second clear. That's all he needs. He just needs to keep pushing on into the distance. For Campbell Adams, there will be a little bit of desperation potentially starting to kick in for the Alpine. He led all race long for a late safety car, then a disconnect to potentially hinder his race victory, and unfortunately that safety car certainly has. He was 4 seconds clear when it was called out. Now he is 1 second behind the race leader, and that's Valentino Labella being pushed wide once again by Stephen Vasso this time around. So unfortunate for Labella, who had such a strong start to this one. It's petered out come the end of it, and halfway through lap 21 it is so close at the front of the field. Half a second separating that top two. It's not over yet.
Absolutely not. As we head for the final 7-kilometer dash to the line, it's been Campbell Adams who's put on an absolute show. He's pushed on this penultimate lap of racing. Has he got a shot to rip it away from Tomasetto Alaya in the final lap of the race? I think it's all about the run, maybe out of the fan chicane, but mainly out of the sauce and on the route past Blanchimont and down to the bus stop chicane. The gap just hindering over 0.5 of a second. Haas, Alpine, Kick Sauber, our top three so far. as we head onto the final lap of racing here in this action-packed F3 race for Premier Sim Gaming League. Tomasetto in the race lead, sets another fastest lap, ripped away by Campbell Adams, but for a tenth of a second as we head around the source and get on the power once again. Can Tomasetto Alaya get that run like we know he can on the run through Eau Rouge and Radion and just keep Campbell Adams behind, who's definitely quicker in the middle sector? Anything's up for grabs. Camille Statura is really close behind to Campbell Adams as well. So instead of looking ahead, he might have to look behind. Here comes Camille Statura on Campbell Adams round the outside. The pole sitter on the inside. The kick Sauber flying through on the route down to Lacombe and gets the position out on track. And we'll finish this one in P2. All about pushing on in this mid stint. Further behind, Felipe Sousa and Cloud going side by side as we head around turn number 7 and into Bruxelles we go. These guys fighting for the final points positions, and down in P11 Felipe gets the move done, but further up front Tomasetto Alaya has been allowed just to saunter off in the distance. And what a race this has been around this icon of a track buried in the Ardennes forest. We've definitely had the weather forecast here in Belgium for an absolutely spicy race, and in qualifying as well. But what a battle. He's had the pace in the mid-pack. He was denied by Campbell Adams' pace in the first stint, who just sauntered off in the distance ahead of Camille Statura, who's in P2 now. Campbell Adams dropped back to P3. Can he try and get the move back done on the route down to the bus stop chicane? I think he might just be too far back, but he's nailed it here in Spa-Francorchamps. And wow, what a race here in F3. They've mastered the mythic tarmac of this iconic Belgium circuit. Every corner a challenge, every lap a statement for Tomasetto Alaya. Relentless, ruthless, and absolutely remarkable. Tomasetto Alaya wins the race here in PSGL F3, and the Belgian Grand Prix goes to the Haas driver, who rips it away in the dying embers from Campbell Adams. What a race!
What a race from Tomasetto Alaya. It looked all wrapped up not too long ago, but that safety car changed the complexion of things, and talk about taking the opportunities when they present themselves. Tomasetto picked up the pieces of that Camille Statura and Campbell Adams contact, and then went on to fight the main man himself. And wow, it was absolutely amazing. From Tomasetto Alaya. That is how you cement yourself as a brilliant wet weather driver. He just had such great pace all race long, and it just all worked out into his favour. And that is exactly how you want to put yourself in as a championship challenger and a menace in the wet weather conditions. So it was Tomasetto Alaya who took your race victory. It would be then from Camille Statura if he's able to hold on to that position with the penalty removal. Then it would have been Campbell Adams, and then 4th place would have been Wojciech Steg, Gregory Zubel in 5th, and then we have Tonelato, Enzo Sum, Roberts, Sprogis, Modler, Sousa, Stephen Vasso, Jacob, Isaac Lee, Labella, Cloud, and Boba. And then your non-finisher would be Lucas Pertinen, your championship leader. Utter despair for him, and he will lose that championship leader crown. It will now be moved on to somebody else. And if he's able to hold on to the position, I think it will be Camille Statura who grabs that championship lead away from Pertinen, or potentially Gregory Progibel as well. But what a race that was in Belgium, an utter classic. Of course, the rain had to be thrown into it. Anything better there, Alex? Late race drama, capitalised with some brilliant opening stint racing as well.
Absolutely phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And what a way to watch my first F3 race as well. And we've seen it all. We've seen rain, we've seen a one-shot qualifying, and what a race it has absolutely been. But I'm absolutely shook on what a race. Just what a race. Anyway, back on the camera screen, it's going to be me and Max. Beautiful as always. But little roundup then. Rain at the start of qualifying, which led everyone just one lap. Craziness. Rain in the race, all race long. Crazy. Absolutely crazy, Max.
Oh, it was just an absolutely crazy race. Qualifying crazy, race crazy. I think it was just Belgium to a T, that one. That was a classic Belgium race where the weather gets involved, and it was just an absolute classic indeed. And Belgium always throws up these amazing races, and it certainly has shown itself well. So for these drivers, they can put a pat on their back for at least getting to the end of this race as well. But for Tomasetto Elea, that was a masterclass of a drive. The door was open, he barged himself.
He's been robbed. Max has been robbed.
Yeah, I accidentally clicked on the wrong commentary box there. Excuse me, everyone. But yeah, absolutely amazing from Tomasetto Elea. Took that opportunity. The door was open. He barged himself straight for it. And he took every opportunity that presented itself. And it just showed with that amazing run through Rouge and Radion, that car was on rails.
It absolutely was, and what a race it is. I'm going to have to quickly watch off because F2 needs a stream as well. We're going to go back to back, and I'll see you in F2 stream as well. But yes, quick reminder of the F1 calendar that's just been announced and the lineup too. And we'll see you next week for some more racing action here in F3. But go check out the F2. Max, thanks for joining me today as always, and we'll see you very, very soon. Adios, amigos. Have a great evening.